And we are live with another episode of Comic Talk. It's that show brought to you by The Keeg where we talk about this week's new comic book releases. For those of you who don't know, new comic books, no matter whether they're DC, Marvel, Image, Indie, Boom Studios, whatever, they all come out on Wednesdays, and we have 24 hours to read everything that we can and come on the show Thursday night to talk about everything that we read. I'm your host, Dimithri Perera, and if you're watching this live, you're watching this on twitch.tv/The Keeg Show or youtube.com/The Keeg Show, or maybe you're listening to the podcast wherever you get your podcast from, but wherever you are digesting us, thank you for digesting us, and let us know you're out there. Like, comment, subscribe, follow, write a review. Go on all the podcast platforms and write a different review for the Keeg podcast kind of channel, network, whatever we are, and show your love that way. Anyway, let me introduce the guests. Obviously, we got Manny Reads Comics, Manny Handres. Manny, what's up, man?
Happy to be here. Got a lot of comics to talk about today, so hope we have some time.
Last month, there were 5 Wednesdays in the month, so the comics got split up, and then that final week was a little bit of a slow one. But now we're back on a 4 Wednesday month, and there's a lot of comics that came out this week.
You can tell. You can definitely tell.
Yeah. Is it overwhelming for you?
Only on days I have to be on this show.
Okay.
I don't have to be on the show. I didn't mean it like that. But on the days that I am gonna be on this show, it's like, oh man, there's more than 5 books, and I have to get some work done, and my family would like to talk to me, I guess. My dogs need to eat. Let me finish this chapter real quick. Give me 1 second.
Yeah.
I got to read this.
I mean, the fact that we have to read as much as we can in 24 hours, and like what I was doing for the past couple weeks on Wednesdays was I would go over to my girlfriend's house and we would watch Agatha All Along. So that would be my Wednesday nights, and I would get no time to read comics for like the past month. I've been like, not reading as much. But also, why am I complaining? I have a girlfriend now. Like, cool. Like,
Watches Agatha all along.
Yeah, right. So
that's awesome.
That's cool. But also the fact that I need to read more comics. So I did read some comics this week, and I'm happy about it. But there are always some that I leave behind. It is what it is. But I'm glad to have you, and thank you for reading as much as you could in 24 hours. So.
Lovely.
We also got Drew Maxey, aka Drew X Deficit, aka Drew Deficit, aka.
Hello, I'm here. I have many names apparently.
It's because the X is silent, and it's like I can't tell people who are listening to the podcast that your username is Drew Deficit because they're gonna miss the X.
Yeah, I get it. I understand. It's a complicated thing.
Yeah. Not only is the X silent, it's also maybe capitalized. Is it capitalized?
Yeah.
So it's extra silent.
That's why it's like
it's not even really an X. It's just a marker.
Okay. All right. Well,
on my world, it stands for hope.
That makes sense. That makes so much sense now.
Yeah. There is an X in comics, and does it stand for hope, or does it stand for punch bigots?
If the X is in, if there's comics with an X in it, I just assume that it means like underground indie comics.
Yeah. All the X-Men comics, very indie. Not very many people will have heard about the X-Men.
You guys know about it, honestly.
Yeah. A lot of books came out this week, whether they're DC, Marvel, Image, any sort of indie comics. A lot came out. It's the first week of the month. Did I say the date? It's Thursday, November 7th, 2024. And we're talking about all the books that came out on November 6th. And who wants to go through their list first? Let's get to it.
Well, before we start, does 7-Eleven do anything for the opposite? It's 11/7 today.
Oh.
I wonder, you have to pay extra for the slushie today or something?
They actually just closed today.
They're just not open. Okay.
You got to bring them a slushie.
Yeah.
What are you doing? You bring your Slurpee to them, they take it and they hoard it until 7-Eleven comes around.
That's why it's free. That makes sense. Yeah.
I get confused with Bizarro logic. Because Bizarro will pop in and have Bizarro logic, but it's like, Wait, but if the opposite is true, then the opposite is true,
Dude,
right?
I wrote
Um,
I wrote Bizarro for a little bit, and it was like I didn't know what I was saying. I was so confused all the time, and I was just like, if I do I keep up with the rules, or do I like do I don't know. Like, are there times when it's okay for him to just say what he means? Oh, it was the worst.
Every writer writes Bizarre a little bit different. But are you talking about for your video game, Justice
Yeah,
League
yeah.
Cosmic Chaos? Cosmic Chaos?
Cosmic Chaos, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Bizarro was in it, and I wrote the first draft of the Bizarro section, and then ended up getting redone by somebody else, um, one of the other writers, because they were like retooling the whole Superman section and stuff
Yeah.
like that. And really, after a while, they were just like, we have to change the way that Bizarro talks because it's too confusing.
Yeah.
let's
Yeah.
just remove Bizarro entirely. Like that's what. Anytime if I'm reading a Superman story and then Bizarro comes along, I'm just like, I don't want to.
It
I don't want to
depends.
do this.
Yeah.
It's worse.
If they make him into this weird parody character, I don't like it. But when they make him into sort of a Frankenstein monster, I like it. You know?
I really liked I'm kind of with you. Like when I see Bizarro, I'm kind of like, oh, okay, all right. But I read they did that like 3 issue thing with like when Jason Aaron was writing Action, and it was kind of a Bizarro gets magic story. I liked that. I thought that was cool.
That was good. That was good. It was weird, but also I think there were like multiple Bizarros in DC at that time.
Yeah, it's a whole thing.
Yeah. But what did you guys read this week? Let's go through our list.
I
Unless both,
had
if you guys unanimously vote that I go first, I will go first.
You can go first.
I say you go first.
Okay, all right. Because it's rare that I go first. What did I read? I read, for the sake of this, I read Action Comics 1074, Absolute Superman 1, Birds of Prey 15, Green Arrow Annual for 2024, JSA number 1, Plastic Man No More number 3, X Factor 4, Avengers 20, The Ultimates number 6, X-Men number 7, and Aliens versus Avengers number 2.
You had a lot of DC. I
Yeah.
think we overlapped on all of your DC ones. I had Absolute Superman, Batgirl, Birds of Prey 15, and that's all my DC. Marvel is the Avengers, uh, the Ultimates number 6, and X-Men number 7. We have Dark Horse with one book this week that is the number 1. It's called FML. It's just random. I picked it up. I was like, yeah, why not? Oh, actually, I lied. Dark Horse has 2. Kill All Immortals number 4. Boom Studios Ranger Academy 12. And then from Image, The Sacrificers number 12. Saga 70. And that's it. 11 books.
Nice. Some good
Cool.
third-party comic stuff.
Yeah.
All right.
I read Absolute Superman.
Mm-hmm.
I read Action 1074. I read Batman 154. I read Birds of Prey 15, Green Arrow Annual,
Were you about to say
JSA
green
number 1.
anal?
Shh.
That's for people
JSA.
who haven't done it before. They're very green, you know.
Oh boy. Okay. All right. I didn't know I was signing up for that kind of podcast.
All right. What else? What else you got? Let's move on.
As long as, listen, what we say before the show starts, our conversations about cake stays.
Okay. Sounds good.
I read JSA at number 1.
Yeah.
I read Poison Ivy 27, and I read Saga 70. I am really bummed out to find out that Kill All Immortals 4 came out, and I didn't know about it because I really like that writer a lot.
Did you not read Plastic Man this week?
I picked it up, but I didn't read issue 2, and I was planning to read issue 2 before I read 3, and then I didn't get a chance to do that.
Oh yeah. I mean, you definitely have to read issue 2 because like
Yeah.
shit goes down.
Yeah. I got a small stack of things that I picked up that I'm not ready to read yet. So
Okay. I mean, Plastic Man No More, because it's Black Label, because it's not in continuity, it might be worth getting in trade. I love it. I'm reading it, but it's also kind of depressing. So it might be, instead of like dragging out your depression for however many issues, let's just say it's 4 issues or 6 issues, 4 months or 6 months, like maybe it's just better to read it as a trade. You know?
Or
Just have all your sadness in one day.
Yeah.
that's like the time that I was snowed in and I decided to watch all of season 3 of Moral Oral. If you've never done that before, it'll ruin your day.
I've seen clips. I've seen clips.
It's rough, but like in a good way.
Yeah. Okay. Manny, your volume's a little low, just so you know. So I don't know if you have a dial turn up or you just speak a little louder, but that's it. You're fine. We can hear you.
Can I speak louder? No, I'm just kidding.
You're like, this is a library. I think that's everybody. Okay, so we did overlap a lot, but also by virtue of just us reading a lot this week. What were you guys' picks of the week? Because let's get into it. I feel like if it wasn't for the fact that we like try to challenge ourselves to choose different picks of the week, I don't know whether we'd all agree on the same pick of the week. But who got first pick of that one? Was it Drew? Who got Absolute Superman?
It's me, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Manny,
I read.
Would it have been your pick of the week if Drew didn't pick it?
No.
Okay.
No, I'm
Just
sorry.
wondering.
Absolute Superman's at 1, 2, 3, 5.
Fifth on your list?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's not bad, which is not bad. Like if we go by my rating thing, it was a 10. 10 means average. 10
10
is
out of
good.
15, right?
Yeah, 10 out of 15. So if you're looking at that like in a 5-star rating, that's a 3 out of 5. Like it's not bad.
Yeah.
It's just
For people watching or listening to the show, Manny has a scoring system. He's very methodical.
I do.
Drew, did you know that? Did you know that Manny
I didn't know that.
I think Manny and I
so-
only get to talk about it in depth when it's only me and Manny because we have enough
Okay.
time.
That's the only reason I do is because I want to be as unbiased about something as I can be. And so I made 5 different categories and gave it like a 1 to 3 point system. So 3 times 5, 15 total. It's a pace, dialogue, emotion, logic, and then just immersiveness. Am I into the story? Like it could have been like bad dialogue and the pacing is bad, but I was really immersed into it. Like I still really like the story, so it's a 3.
So
But that
you've
gives it
you've
the
created
most
an
points.
entire rubric for this.
Yes, absolutely. No, I have like a whole like database thing where I make like like I have charts and graphs. It's
Can we get a
I like
graphic
data.
artist on that to make
I
like little
I mean
infographics and stuff?
I have it in Looker Studio, which is Google. It's all free and it has the graphs. It's nice and color coded and everything. It's beautiful to my eyes. That's what I do for work, but I also like to do. I just like data, so
Yeah.
I did it for myself, and it's a lot of work afterwards. Where I'm like, oh, I got to go input the books of the week for blah blah blah, and put it into my database. But it's fun, and I like it, and it keeps me honest to myself. Like, am I picking Absolute Superman because it's Superman, or is it that I actually really like the
Because
story?
it's
And
like
now,
hip and
I can
trendy
say
and everything.
exactly, exactly. So, but now I can be like, no, this is the reasons why.
Okay. Well, I want to hear Drew and why Absolute Superman #1 is his pick of the week.
So I was ready to not like it as much as I was ready to not like it as much as I thought I would.
Yeah.
Which I know like sounds silly because like, oh, if you thought you were gonna like it, then but it was just like, I wanted to keep my expectations reasonable, because I've liked the Absolute Universe so far. The now 3 books that we've gotten. I really like Jason Aaron as a writer. He was one of the first. He was one of the first writers that like when I first started reading comics, he wasn't doing superhero stuff yet. He had done like a few things here and there, just like an issue, like a one shot for DC or whatever. But he was doing crime comics, and I really liked his stuff. So I was like, shoot, I'll follow this guy to the ends of the earth. Um, and so like Jason Aaron is like one of my guys that I've always really liked. But I have read some stuff by him that doesn't click with me. So I'm like, okay, it's new. I'm gonna kind of temper my expectations, whatever. Um, and then I read the issue and I was just like, nope, everything about this works for me. Literally all of it. It is like it is to me, I think that this is quintessentially what they promised with the Absolute Universe. It takes everything you know about like you that you understand about a classic character and recontextualizes it for a modern audience while also saying that anything can be different. Um, and so, I mean, this is Superman, but it's just a little bit different from what you know. And because you have that blank slate, you kind of get to mess around with things a little bit. For example, um, I love that there's kind of like two parts to the story that they're jumping back and forth between, where like part of it is about Krypton and like this class system that exists on Krypton, which is I thought was really interesting that Action Comics 1074 also takes place on Krypton
Yeah.
this week. So you do get to see like you actually get to see the differences between the two universes if you're reading them back to back. Um, but like, yeah, there's this class system on Krypton where like everybody's required to wear like what uh essentially like what social and economic class they belong to. Um, I think that you have like Lara and Jor-El, who are Superman's parents,
Hmm.
are like the iron workers. They're supposed to be like, a blue collar family who isn't allowed to work in science. They were banished from working in science, both of them.
Hmm.
Um, and so they have to work on machinery, and they're the people of steel. I thought that was a really cool a little cool way of like working that in there to make that literally a part of Superman's lineage, that he is a man of steel. Um, and then it's like kind of the second part of the story that we're seeing is like the present on Earth, and there's this diamond mine where people are essentially being forced into slave labor by a corporation that is making them work down to the bone.
Lazarus Corp.
Yeah, the Lazarus Corp. They have to work down to the bone. They're clearly like, I mean, they're not free. There's a paramilitary group, the Peacemakers, which is keeping them in this position and quelling any sort of uprising. And Superman comes along and is just like, here you go. I'm giving you what you need to get out of here. Don't don't think anything of it. And yeah, it's really cool.
Thought about it.
Yeah.
I love like the champion of the oppressed Superman.
Hmm.
And to put that in a modern lens where it kind of looks at some of the kind of fears and anxieties that a modern 2024 audience would have, it works for me on every level.
I'm gonna chime in that like I wasn't expecting like absolute Batman, and I did. Absolute Wonder Woman, I didn't know one way or another, but I thought it was interesting they went with like a dark magic sort of thing. And
Hmm.
Absolute Superman, I didn't know. I had no idea what they were gonna pull off with it. But something that I really like about the Absolute DC universe is it's really funny because when Ultimate Marvel came out in 2000, the year 2000, everybody wondered when DC would do their Ultimate DC.
Right.
And around Flashpoint, after Flashpoint, DC did the New 52, which was a reboot of the universe, which was kind of like Ultimate, but not. It was neither here nor there, and we got rid of a whole canon universe to create this new, hip, trendy, armored suit universe. And like people didn't like it, I didn't like it, whatever. And so the question is like, why now? Why does the Absolute universe exist? And I mean, the premise for anyone out there who doesn't know is that like this is a universe made in Darkseid's like spirit, like DC Prime Earth, that universe is built that like good will succeed. There's always hope. Hope will flourish. Like
Hmm.
that's a big thing about DC. And like I don't think you could do a DC universe without that underlying vein. But like this absolute universe is that like there is no hope, there is only dark side, right? Like dark side is. But I think that it's showing that by introducing these characters, hope is inevitable
Yeah,
in and
yeah,
making
I think
them,
so too.
making them underdogs, right? There are some changes in this that I love, and it's different enough, but still Superman. And it's not Ultimate Superman in the way that Ultimate Marvel was.
Yeah.
It's different. Manny, I want to hear your thoughts.
To pretty much hit all the points. It was good. Like I appreciated that it wasn't just a Superman that hates the world and has just been like clouded by hatred his whole life and all this stuff. It's not an opposite Superman, but it is a Superman who it, like at one point there's a point of dialogue where he says, "I've been all over the world. I've been in the jungles. I've been in the whatever, and then I've been in those large areas of land that have nothing but sand, whatever they're called." So it's like I don't want to say he's uneducated, but he hasn't learned everything about Earth. Like to say he doesn't know the word desert, you know.
Yeah.
And so that was interesting to kind of like it was just kind of like a little bit of foreshadowing of how he is going to be, what's his upbringing here, who raised him here, because he was a, and that's the other thing, he wasn't a baby. That's another kind of spoiler for this. He wasn't a baby when he came to Earth. He was in Krypton. He was what do you want to say?
10?
11,
He looks like he's
9,
like 5 or 6.
10,
Okay.
6. I suck with kids and ages. Like I
That's
can
also
my
hard to
my
judge when it's illustrated.
my wife
Yeah.
teaches first grade, and like I would look at a kid that she's teaching. I'm like, he's 11, and she's like, he's 6. I'm like,
You're like,
he's. And
hey
then,
kid, what do you what
I
do you
was like, I
like?
don't know.
30,
Like,
32?
right? I was like, hey, can you give me a ride to the bar real quick, man? Like,
You're
I need
DD
an
tonight.
Uber. Yeah, yeah, exactly.
I'm
No,
this
I
way.
suck with ages. Like that's perfect. You just keep go to the bar. No, but I don't know because you said like he's gonna be like the man of the people kind of thing, and I don't get that feeling yet. Like obviously he's going to because he's Superman, but I don't get that feeling yet because I think right now he's just like you are you're all being taken advantage of, and I don't like that. But when he was talking one on one with that one guy, he was just like, I've seen your world and like you have nothing. Like that this is nothing and there's nothing to really fight for, but he's still doing it, for
Hmm.
whatever reason. And so I am interested to see what he's going to do and like the backstory, like the little uh like background that they're going to give him to see why he's even fighting right now. Like why is he even going behind everybody's back to like crush the rocks into diamonds and stuff like that? Why is he doing that? That's something I'm looking forward to reading about. But as of right now, I just feel like it's going to be a slow start, which is good. Which is
Yeah.
good. Like that's the absolute. I think that's the weakest out of the absolute three, but it's not. It's not weak.
Yeah.
I guess you could say, you're only as strong as your weakest link. It's a pretty strong link chain. So,
I
but
was when I was kind of thinking about the three of them, initially when I read Wonder Woman, I was just like, oh, I didn't like this as much as I thought I was going to. And then I was thinking about it today after reading the Absolute Superman, after reading this issue. And I kind of went back and I was like, the more I think about that Wonder Woman issue, the more I like it. And so now I'm like, I think Batman to me was again, same thing. It is not a weak book. It's just not as strong as the other two so far.
Mhm.
And
I will
we
say I
talked about it
do.
on here. I really liked Absolute Batman.
Yeah.
Yeah, I do also like that Superman has a AI companion. I guess
Yeah.
Yeah,
some
it's
kind
almost
of
like
soul.
Kelex is part of him now.
Yeah,
I don't know if it's
it's
supposed to
really
be
cool.
Kelex, but that's what it feels
He
like.
he named it or he called it Soul, like
Oh,
SOL,
that's right. Yeah, yeah,
which
yeah.
is sun. So it's sun in Spanish. So I'm like,
Hmm.
oh, that's like, hey,
It's
that's
not
pretty
only sun
cool.
in Spanish, it is our Latin name for sun, for our sun. Like
Yeah.
our star is called Sol.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But that was interesting. It's cool to see him like recharging himself. I don't know. And now I'm like going into like theories and stuff. It's like, does he not recharge himself like just naturally? But then again, he was in the mine, so he was underground for overnight. So
Yeah.
I don't know. It's weird. I've never thought about Superman like draining his energy,
Hmm.
even though it has happened, right?
Yeah.
Especially when he goes up against like Parasite or something. But it was just interesting to see him do all that. But
There's
I liked it.
a lot of cool things in this book, like really small things, and I think that like they're trying to show that Krypton is mirroring Earth a little bit more,
Mm.
and
Yeah.
even down to, and it's a very small thing that I noticed, and I don't want to go too much into it, but in DC normal canon, Superman's father is Jor-El, Superman's name is Kal-El, but his mom is Lara. She doesn't have a last name. Women don't take on the last name of the men in Kryptonian culture. The children take on the can take on like the last their father's name as the last name or whatnot. So like Kara Zor-El is the Kara daughter of Zor-El.
Right.
Kal-El is an L, but Lara doesn't have an L.
Isn't Laura's name, isn't it Lara Jor-El?
I've never seen it that way, and I could be wrong. But in this book, it is Lara. What is it in this book? Is that what you're saying?
No, I mean like in
In general, I've never
in
seen it be Lara Jor-El, but I could. I mean, the way I've always seen
Laura,
it is Jor-El and Lara.
in
Jor-El
this
and
book,
Lara
it's
have Kal-El. Then there's Zor-El and whatever Supergirl's mother is, and then it's Kara. But then Kara is Kara Zor-El sometimes. But it's not
in this book it
But it's
was
not Kara L.
Laura Lor Van. I've
That's
never
oh,
heard
so
Lor
Lor
Van.
Van is her father. So
Okay.
the women take the father's full name as their last name, classically.
was
But
it did you just look that up or was that in this book?
I have what's it called? The League of Comic Geeks pulled up,
Okay.
and so I just clicked on it, and it shows every once in a while it does show like the featured characters. So for this one, it only shows Superman, Jor-El, Lara, and then Lois Lane.
but for this one, it's listed wrong because on in the comic it was something else. It was Lara L or Lara Jor-El. I forget.
Hmm.
I thought the reason is because they're keeping a similar naming convention to this sort of patriarchal um, naming convention that we have, like here, you know,
Hmm.
on Earth, or at least in Western culture, where women take the last name of their husband. Um,
League of Comic Geeks is, I think most of it is just like information supplied by fans. It's for fans by the fans.
oh, okay. No,
But
yeah, you're right. I am looking at it. It's Laura Lorvan.
yeah, yeah. So I was gonna say maybe a fan person or someone input it wrong, but it is under the Absolute Universe title. Lara Lorvan is a farmer from Krypton and the mother of Superman.
Okay,
That's
so I
all
was
so
wrong.
far.
Which,
F-
by the way,
Forget what I said.
I really love the like they kept that he's raised by farmers. Just this time it was on
On Krypton?
Krypton.
Yeah, yeah,
I thought the funniest part of this book though was when one of the because you were talking about they had to wear their crest is not their family crest, but it's their
they're
class system
cast.
crest.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
know
their
exactly what
cast.
you're gonna say.
And he's like, I'm middle management.
Yeah, yeah, I'm
Do
the
you know
middle
who you're talking
manager.
to? Like, oh my God,
And the
man,
middle
stop.
management logo is in like an M on an
Like an
M with a
M.
circle.
Yeah.
And it
Yeah,
makes me wonder, like, is there going to be a bad guy, a bad Kryptonian,
the
flying
middle
with the middle
manager.
management logo
The
on him?
manager,
Like, oh,
the
all right.
supervisor.
Michael
You
Scott.
guys, Superman
And
versus
and is
supervisor. There you
the only
go.
person that who can defeat him is Power Girl
Is she going to have
because
the
her name is
sun?
Karen.
Oh,
Oh,
no, very
okay.
nice.
Let me
Very nice.
speak to your manager.
Um,
um, anyway, there's a lot of cool stuff in this, but I I would have picked this, and I was so set on picking it, and I was upset that Drew picked it. But then
Drew ruined
I
everything.
I decided, nah. I realized what I thought I was gonna pick, and then I read it, and I was like, oh yeah, this is my first pick. My pick of the week is Aliens versus Avengers #2.
Which I didn't even know that was going out.
I
I think I heard about it, but I never even knew. So,
This is okay. I'm talking as a fan of. I'm not even a diehard Avengers fan. Like I like the Avengers, of course. I read Avengers comics, but I'm not like a diehard Avengers fan, and I'm not even close to being a fan of Aliens. I read the comics. I don't watch the movies because I get scared, right? So, but like this crossover event is so damn good. It's written by Jonathan Hickman. This is issue 2, and it's an alternate Marvel universe where aliens have essentially seeded themselves in on Earth, killed a bunch of people, and there's like the last part of humanity. So it takes place a little bit into the future, and we find out exactly kind of how this happened in the Marvel universe, or in this Marvel universe, in this issue. And like there are really kick-ass scenes. Vinyl Casket, shout out to Vinyl Casket out there in our Twitch chat, saying let's go Comic Talk. Vinyl Casket super excited to check out the absolute titles. The Flash looks like it'll be sick. The Alien crossover has been so peak, super well thought out. Yeah, Hickman is really thinking this through, and I never knew that Hickman would have been an Aliens fan. I'm sure he's an Aliens fan by the way he writes it. But let me just I'm going to give you a spoiler for issue 1 of Aliens versus Avengers. So it takes place slightly in the future, and Miles Morales is we haven't even seen Peter, so maybe Peter's dead. But Miles is Spider-Man, and a face hugger jumps on Miles and like goes on his face, and the rest of the team, and everybody's like super old. Like Tony Stark is an old man in like a robot wheelchair kind of thing. The face hugger hops onto Miles, and they're like, well, we might as well just kill him because he's dead. Like a face hugger got him. But Miles's black suit turns out to be a symbiote. Like you don't know because it just looks like a suit, and it goes inside out over the face hugger, and then turns the face hugger into a symbiote and goes back onto Miles as his suit. So his symbol is like a spider symbiote logo on a white symbiote suit.
What happened to the alien?
The symbiote took over the alien.
Right, but then he went back to Spider-Man.
Yeah.
Did he kill the alien and then go to Spider-Man?
No,
like,
he's using the alien as a host. Well, I don't know. It's
like what happened to his body? Oh, okay.
He flattens onto him, so like he absorbs the alien, and now he is the alien, but he's also his suit.
Oh, okay. I see what you're saying. That's weird.
Yeah,
because that would imply that he could do that with Spider-Man too, right?
I mean,
like he take over Spider-Man and then flatten.
Yeah, I mean, he's done similar things to like Carnage, Carnage has done similar things, right? Like he's like thrown off pieces of his body and stuff, and like he regenerates and whatnot. So whatever the rules of this, that's what he can do.
My symbiote lore is very, very little. So
I don't like symbiotes.
I don't know what he can do.
I'll be honest, I don't like symbiotes. But this one, super good. This issue is, I don't know. People die, right? People die. Humanity's last chance at survival. Tony Stark is leading the final group of people. There's some crazy stuff. Anyway, I recommend it. I don't want to spoil it, but this is a book that people are sleeping on, and they shouldn't. End rant.
That's called Aliens versus Avengers?
Yeah.
I'm going to be honest with you. I tend to not be super like excited about I'm mincing words there. I'm particularly dismissive of licensed comics a lot of the time, to a fault, to where like I am genuinely aware that I am missing good comics because I can't look past the fact that it's like, in my mind, just marketing for something else. But I do really like Alien. Mm-hmm. And the fact that you are saying that it's like written by Hickman is super interesting to me.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know. It's worth checking out. Look, Marvel has the rights to 20th century properties, right? So they did a line of Planet of the Apes comics. They did a line of Predator comics. They did a line of Alien comics. And so slowly but surely they're starting to do crossovers. Predator versus Wolverine, Predator
Mhm.
versus Black Panther, this is Aliens versus Avengers, and yeah, I don't know. It's good. I don't normally like crossovers because I'm used to the like Batman versus Alien or like Batman versus Predator comic book from Dark Horse back in the day. That like, does it matter? Does it change anything? Does it show me anything new? Not really. You're just there to see them like duke it out. Um, but I've been surprised by certain crossover events that like the Batman Fortnite Zero Point comic is really like legitimately good. You don't even have
I've
to
heard
like
that from
Fortnite.
people.
Yeah, like it's just a good Batman story.
That's one of those where I'm definitely biased, and I'm like, oh, Fortnite, no thank you,
I
no
mean,
thank you whatsoever.
it's Batman meets what's it's not Insomnia. What's the Memento? It's Batman meets Memento
Oh, interesting.
because the Fortnite cloud erases everybody's memories every battle
No,
and restarts you. But Batman figures his way around that.
of course, of course.
I don't know.
They
That one's
they
also
gave
worth
them
getting
prep
to.
time. They gave them prep time.
Vinyl Casket says Marvel's been handling the Alien Predator titles so well. Predator versus Wolverine was awesome, and the 20th Century Studio imprint has been great, even Planet of the Apes. Basically, they did with Marvel what they did with Star Wars, how they made all the Dark Horse stuff non-canon and are pushing new stuff with old references. Yeah. They have Planet of the Apes comics that work with the Charlton Heston timeline, and they have Planet of the Apes comics that take place in between the newer Planet of the Apes
Mhm.
movies. So they're playing around with everything. I like it. Manny, your pick of the week.
Pick was Birds of Prey. I just really like the dialogue in this. It's just showing Black Canary and her leadership skills and how well she knows her team. And she picked this team. She single-handedly picked everybody on her team, and it shows because she knows how to handle them. She knows how to talk to them in bad times and good times, and how to raise their spirits if they need to be. Just her like talking to Sin. Um, does Sin go by a different name, like her superhero name? I forgot if she goes by another name.
There's that like demon that's bonded to her.
Yeah,
I don't know.
Magara, or something
Is
like that.
Megara the thing that was bonded to her?
The demon.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
But like she's feeling down because she feels like she's like on D team, not even on C team. Like
Yeah.
she's not even really seen as a person on the team. And Black Canary goes and talks to her and lets her know like, hey, we all have our positions in the team, and no one is A team, no one is B team, and it kind of just hits her with a bit of logic that she needed. Barda is mad because the whole point of this new storyline is that um, Batgirl Cassandra, she is undercover trying to infiltrate some company that's been kidnapping Amazons,
Mm-hmm.
and I think they're selling them as like weapons of war and
Yeah.
stuff. But she's trying to infiltrate and trying to rescue these people. I mean, they haven't heard from her in a while, and that's making Barda really angry, really angsty, like, or not angsty, but antsy. Like she's like, we need to go save her, and then when Dinah goes and talks to her, and says, hey, we're all on this team for our skills. Do you not trust her? If this was you, would you want us barging in? Like just putting her, like letting her know like she's safe, and if she's not safe, we will know, and we're gonna take care of her and stuff, and it helps. So it wasn't a very action-packed scene or book, but it was just good talking moments, good character moments for everybody. And then you have the silly moments like Barda playing a video game and even kicking ass in the video game, regardless. Barda is just a force to be reckoned with, no matter what the medium is, right?
Yeah.
So it was a good book. And then Cassandra's just a badass. And it was great to see her in Birds of Prey and in her own Batgirl book.
Yeah.
So she's just a badass regardless. So it's nice to see.
I didn't get to read Batgirl #1 this week, but I did read Birds of Prey 15, and I've loved this run. Who's writing this run again?
Kelly Thompson.
Kelly
Ellie
Thompson.
Thompson, who she does a great job.
She's been doing really great character work with this. I will say that this arc is back to being like my favorite, I guess, because I liked the previous arcs, but I also don't like the Birds of Prey being Justice League level threats. Like, I don't want their stories to be Justice League stories. I want their stories to be like street level, because that's like the Birds of Prey that I used to read, right? So I like this arc because it's very street level, and that's what I signed up for. You know, Drew, did you read this one?
I did, yeah. I I agree with everything Manny said. Like it's just full of cool character moments. I think that the first of all, I think adding Barda to the lineup, like when they
Mhm.
first launched this book, um, it's a really cool lineup. I was drawn in. I was on board as soon as they announced, Black Canary being the leader of the team. I love Black Canary. She's one of my favorite DC characters, and uh, but like the group that they have is so interesting and diverse and like in terms of personalities, they're all different.
Mm-hmm.
Kelly Thompson writes all of them in like ways that like Cassandra sounds like Cassandra. Barda sounds like Barda, and
Mm-hmm.
like they all have a distinct voice, which is hard to do when you're writing like an ensemble, a bunch of different characters like that. I think that so yeah, I mean having Barda on the team in general makes it just very interesting, but having her develop this relationship with Cassandra, I think is a really cool thing that you wouldn't necessarily, when you think about those two characters, you wouldn't necessarily think of them being paired up together. The character moment of Canary like coming and talking with Barda about like, hey, like Cassandra is really good. She is exceptional. And by wanting us going in and like extracting her before she's ready is going to diminish her. And she's
Yeah.
just kind of like, okay, yeah, I get that. You're a really good leader. Like it's a cool moment.
Yeah.
Um, I somehow forgot to pick up Batgirl #1. And then as I was reading this today, I was just like reminded of that. And I was bummed out because I do like Cassandra a lot. And this was just reminding me that I like Cassandra a lot.
Yeah.
I'll make
I
sure not to give any spoilers. I hear you. I hear you.
I I read some Marvel comics this week, but I'm gonna be honest, like DC Comics is good. Like I don't I I think that like if people are reading comics right now and they want like I don't know, DC is back is really what it is, right? Like maybe
Yeah,
DC's been back,
honestly.
sure, but like they are firing on all cylinders.
Yeah,
They
like Flash was one of those titles where I've been giving up on it for a while now. And even the last arc, Simon Spurrier was like he went a different route, and I think he realized it because this new route that he went with this first issue, he even says it genre shift in the middle of the book. When I thought that
Yeah,
was good because that last genre it was oof, it
I
was
couldn't
rough
do it.
to read. Yeah, it was bad,
Yeah,
but it's back just like you said, and I think DC just has been doing really good with all of their books so far. And Kelly Thompson, she's the one that wrote Captain Marvel, like one of my favorite Captain Marvel. You know, I don't want to say arcs. It's like the whole series.
runs. Yeah,
Um, yeah, it runs, and it's showing here in Birds of Prey again. Like she flirts with Bart. I was a little scared with Barda when they brought Barda in because I thought I was gonna be just like the Hulk talk,
yeah,
Hulk language, and she did that for a little bit, but like we're saying, she definitely has her moments, and so yeah, no, DC's definitely coming back, or they are back. Maybe
yeah.
they are.
I think that maybe they've been back for a while, but now I'm seeing like a collective vision, a collective like idea, and I think it's because they can use the absolute universe to experiment and but they can like keep that hope alive in the regular universe. Like
I
I don't
think
know.
yeah, I think that there is a lot of it seems to me like the last, I don't know, 10, 12 years has been kind of experimenting. They wanted to see what would happen if they just completely reboot their universe. They wanted to see what would happen if they went like just kept some of that universe and kept parts of the old universe.
Yeah,
They wanted to see what would happen if they made mature stories for their superhero characters. And now it's kind of like, okay, we did the research. Now we're figuring out what we need to do. We can experiment with, like, we can tell our regular stories. We can experiment with the superhero stuff through Absolute. We can tell mature superhero stuff with Black Label,
Mm-hmm.
but they're also bringing Vertigo back. So they're
Right.
like Vertigo is
Yeah.
back, and they're separating that from like,
From Black Label.
yeah. And I think that's a really good move. I think that there is like nothing bad that can come from that, because Vertigo allows them to give creators a creator-owned option. And so now, I mean, they're provided that like they continue pumping out really good stuff, it's just going to want to bring more and more uh
Talent.
yeah, talent to like stay on with
Yeah.
DC.
Yeah. Also adding in DC Horror Presents. That's an imprint of DC Comics where they can tell horror stories, but they're not always Black Label horror stories. In fact, all of them take place in the DC universe. And we've had 2 titles as of
Mhm.
now. DC Horror Presents Creature Commandos, and then just the DC Horror Presents 3-parter anthology series. And so we'll see. I mean, we'll see where that goes. But I'm very interested in the differentiation between Black Label and Vertigo. Vertigo seems like its original characters, original stories, creator
I
owned.
think I think that is the distinction that they are going to. I was critical of, like, I will be totally honest. I was critical of Black Label when it started, because it seemed to me, I'm gonna quote ourselves earlier. They were trying to have their cake and eat it too,
Yeah.
in the sense that like they wanted to appeal to the audience that wants mature readers, but they didn't want to use things that they didn't own because they wanted the money. And
Right.
so like all of when that happened and they closed Vertigo, it created a vacuum,
Yeah.
and all of the books that would have been Vertigo books became Image books. Now
Mm.
that like Vertigo is coming back, I hope that they can get back to the prestige and the status that they once had, because there was a time you pick up any Vertigo book, you knew it was going to be quality. It might not be something that worked for you, that you necessarily wanted to read, but it was like it may not have been your taste, but it was going to be well written, and well, the art was going to be great. Um, and now it's like, okay, you can give creators this creator-owned option to tell the stories that they want to tell, appeal to um, multiple types of audiences. Not every Vertigo book was a mature reader's book.
Yeah. And not every Black Label book is a mature book
Right,
either.
yeah. And so you can appeal to the different audiences, but you can give them Warner Brothers marketing and advertising
Mm.
budgets. And that is very valuable.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm excited. I think both companies are really utilizing imprints, and I think that's cool that they're able to do that. We got from in Marvel, we have 20th Century Studios, we have Ultimate Marvel, the new Ultimate Marvel. I don't know what
Mhm.
else we got for Marvel.
I really don't know either. I don't know.
Yeah.
They used to have a creator owned option,
Mm.
Icon,
Yeah.
which
That
like
ended a long time ago.
it doesn't exist anymore. And
Yeah.
I don't think that, because I don't think they need to have it anymore. If I'm not mistaken, Marvel doesn't do creator exclusive contracts anymore, do they?
As far as I know, no. Yeah. I don't know also if they're bringing back Max Comics because they brought it back for Get Fury.
Yeah.
I've been harping on that. That was surprising for people who know.
M-
If you don't know,
Max, the Max line will show up every now and again, kind of just poke its head up and then go away
yeah.
until Garth Ennis wants to make a new book.
Is it
But
solely just Garth Ennis
at,
as
at this
Max?
point, I don't think that it is like tailored just to him, but it's just like it seems like that's what gets him to work at Marvel, is that if he
Yeah.
gets to have no restrictions.
I'm sure there's a contractual thing where he's like, "No, we're going off our grandfathered thing that only applies to Max.
I mean, it's tried and true for him.
Yeah,
So
yeah. I mean, Get Fury was also really good, and I'm a Garth Ennis hater, but Get Fury was really good. Just throwing that out there. Let's talk about Marvel. If you guys got any Marvel stuff, and then I want to talk about some of the indie stuff. We gotta pick up the pace. We got 20 minutes, but
I don't have any Marvel
did
this
anyone?
week.
No X-Men, nothing.
I picked up X Factor, but I didn't read the previous couple issues. So
Okay. Manny, you got any Marvel?
I read Avengers and X-Men.
Did you
So
like
Avengers was
Avengers
pretty good.
number
It
20?
was good. Did you read it? Did anybody? I
Yeah,
guess.
I read this one.
Yeah.
Basically, it was like a Black Panther solo kind of story.
Yeah, and it was nice.
It
It
was
was
kind of cool.
cool to see, but it was a little slow. Like it was just centered around Black Panther, and in the last issue, he went into like the prison that the I already forgot the name of that
The
group. The
Diadem,
like Diadem. There,
something
thank
like
you.
that. But yeah.
They had like a world, a prison world, and so like he went in there to kind of free them or see what he can do for them.
Mm-hmm.
And then he realized he finds out that there's two factions. There's the diehard loyalists for that diadem person, those specific villain out of the diadem,
Mm.
and then there are the people that want to be free from that, and so that they're all fighting. But the free people, they are fighting amongst themselves as well, like who's going to lead them. So
With
there are
like
factions
factions
within
and stuff.
them.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so, because they can't get their shit together, they are losing against the loyalists. And so, therefore, here comes Black Panther, and he says, "You all follow me now."
Yeah.
He's like, and he's kind of getting in his own head of saying, like, "Am I only doing this because I want to be a king again, or like I want to, this is what I was born to do, and I can't do it in my own nation, so I'm going to do it somewhere else."
Yeah.
So it's cool to see. It was nice. It was a little slow, but not too slow. And we saw some kick-ass moments with him, like just taking over one of the faction leaders. So
Yeah. I mean, the plot
it was
is
good.
like, if you read between the lines, you can see that like, so the in this whole comic, he keeps being like, I was born to do this, I was made to do this, and he's like going around liberating this like alien world. And it's so funny. He's like really hyping himself up. And it's funny because this is a direct continuation off the fact that Storm just joined the Avengers. And Black Panther's like, I'm just gonna go on a solo mission. And
I'm
they're
amazing. I'm so cool. I'm so great.
like, that's and I think it's on purpose, right? That because in the previous issue they were like, hey, T'Challa, you want to go on the solo mission? Is this because Storm is like hanging out with us now? And he's like, I just can't deal with this right
I
now.
was like,
Like,
what? No, no, I didn't even know Storm was here. Who is Storm? I gotta go. Bye.
I think there's a point in this that says like he's never been afraid of dying, but he doesn't like losing, and
Yeah,
his biggest loss was losing her, and
yeah.
like I get it, man. I would feel the same way, you know.
I relate. I relate hard.
I just sometimes, you know, are you not
There's
worthy
a
of Storm, or did you just fuck up? I don't know.
there's also like a little detail that they kind of touched on, then they never mention it again. It's basically time works different there. So
Yeah,
that's going to be interesting to see when he comes back out. Is it going to be a couple of days? Has it been a year? Where have you been, Black Panther? We needed you for blank. Who knows what?
but
But
he's
that's
gonna be
that's
old. Is he gonna be
something.
old?
Yeah, well, I think it passes faster. Yeah, so he would be old. Yeah, right. Like years for him, maybe
Yeah.
days for us, or is it the other way? I don't know.
I
I don't
wonder.
know.
I wonder if he's gonna have a kid. Have we seen any like hot
Oh,
alien girls there? I don't know.
Tosin Jr.
What?
Tosin the third. Or is it gonna be Tosin Jr. or whatever? Like, is this
T'Chaka?
gonna be his other? Yeah, no, Tosin. Tosin.
Who's Tosin?
Isn't that his son? Doesn't he
Oh,
have a son?
T'Challa.
T'Challa?
Right now in continuity, he doesn't have a son.
Oh, in this continuity.
Yeah,
But he does have that son.
in
I
like
don't know a lot about Black Panther, so
yeah,
I'm
he
like,
doesn't have a son
did I
in modern,
misspeak?
in like current continuity. But like in Aliens versus Avengers, it takes place in the future. He has a son in that. Like they constantly like give him children in the future and alternate timelines and stuff. But you know,
Uh, I see.
did you read X Men or anything X Men related?
Did I think that was pretty good. I'm liking that the fact that they are finally talking about what's wrong with Magneto, what's going on with him.
Yeah,
They didn't really explain it, but it just like he overused his power kind of. They did explain it. Actually, I lied. They
yeah,
kind of explained it with like the whole resurrection thing is messing it up. But I was reading comments on that, and they're saying like that shouldn't be a thing because Magneto wasn't resurrected by the five, so that shouldn't affect like Scott's resurrections or any of the other X-Men's
right.
resurrections.
I think there's
But
something
in this
else at
book,
play.
yeah, in this book, he's literally talking to Scott and saying, "You need to watch out. You died a lot.
Yeah,
I died one
exactly.
time,
Yeah,
and I messed up, and you died a lot. You
yeah.
suck."
Um, I've been a naysayer of this X-Men line because I was just like, it's all right. This
Yeah,
issue actually is really good, and this issue, like, it has a flashback sequence, and I liked this issue. You get some moments with Cyclops and
he
Magneto that I thought were like really
he's
great.
wearing the new X-Men too, right? The new like the
Cyclops
jacket with the
in the
yellow.
past,
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah. Like I thought that was pretty cool.
yeah.
Um, the other storyline that's one storyline. The other storyline there is that there was a little girl who thought she was a mutant, and so she like finds a way to get to signal Tempest, Temper,
Temper,
Temper, and so she sees it. She decides to get magic to help her sneak in and get that kid so they can test her. Turns out she's just human, but I really like the fact that uh, dang, I'm Psylocke was like, hey, you did everything right. Like you, everything that you're doing, I stand for. It's the way you're doing it. Like you're a part of a team. You're not by yourself. And Temper kind of, true to her name, she didn't take it very well.
yeah,
You could just see it in her face. She didn't take that. So I'm interested to see where that's going. But then at the end of the book, little spoiler, Hank tested her and said, you are Homo sapien sapien. Like
yeah,
you are as human as can be. And then at the end, you get that little kind of like a teaser where her hand changes into like a monster hand, and then it goes back.
yeah.
So what's going on there? What's happening?
I mean,
These fake
I'm
so these
intrigued.
fake mutants aren't real mutants,
Maybe
or manufactured mutants are not genetically mutant.
right. Magneto does make a point. He says, "Look, all mutants are mutants, no
Yeah,
matter how." Which I thought was like interesting for Magneto, but like
yeah.
I'm interested to see what they do with all of this. Um, it's picking up this title. Did you read X Factor 4?
Mm-mm.
Okay, I'm just
I'm
gonna
only
go.
reading. Yeah, go ahead.
I mean, it's not a comedy, but it is satirizing like consumerism, TikTok culture, that sort of thing, and it's very reminiscent of like the old X Force, X Statics sort of comics. Um, and this issue was good, but like you could skip this issue, and I think it wouldn't affect anything. It's like a standalone adventure, and like okay, I guess it was fine, it was good, but
Standalone, but with who is it focusing on someone specifically?
no, just Havoc takes a team to the center of the Earth, and they do a rescue uh mission, and like some things go wrong, and then that's the issue. Um, but um, um, you read some. Did you guys both read like third party comics of any sort?
We
I think
both
we
read
both read
Saga
Saga.
70.
Yeah,
Okay, you guys want to talk about it?
yeah.
I'm not reading Saga. I've never really read Saga. I've read like a couple issues and I stopped.
I'll leave it to Drew because like to your point that you never read it, I had never read it either. And when I picked it up and read one through what was the break line, like 51 issues or
54.
something? 54. One through 54, amazing because I got to binge it. And then now that I have to read it one and then wait, I guess like a month and then read another one and it's just rough. Like it's such a good story, but binging it is better.
Mm.
So I have been reading Saga since issue one dropped.
Oh, I'm
Um,
so sorry.
I was like, I can still remember that book coming out and being like, yo, I'm going to pick up that comic today.
Yeah.
Like I was so excited about it. And yeah, I've been reading it monthly since then. I've been there during the
Break.
hiatuses because they take a hiatus between every story arc. And then, I was there during the 4 year split or the 4 year break after 54. And I actually really love reading it monthly.
Yeah.
Um, it is the guy, the owner of my comic shop, Jake, and I have talked about this several times where like a lot of monthly books pack so much information in that by the time the next comic comes out, the next issue comes out, like you've forgotten how much has happened. But for some reason with Saga, they have found this really cool balance of like it does it doesn't hold back with the amount of information that it's giving you, but it's presented in such a way that you can just easily remember it.
I
Um,
don't feel overwhelmed by like how much did they give me or anything, but honestly, I have the opposite feeling of like that was not long enough. Like
Yeah,
I
sometimes
needed
that
more.
happens. The
Yeah.
issues do they move really quickly. That happens often. Um, I think that this arc in particular is a little bit of a slower arc, but I can tell that it's building towards something. I think the cliffhanger in this issue means that things are going to start kind of speeding up and getting a little bit more. But getting a little more faster paced. But I do think that I've really enjoyed the what they've been doing with kind of like these smaller stories of, just kind of Alana with the family, her new family, and all these different jobs and stuff like that. I am a sucker just because I'm a musician. I'm a sucker for the subplot that like Hazel is starting a band and she got really into music and stuff like that. Um, I mean, I'm
I
so
love like all the family related stuff, like the main family related stuff, is very emotional, very it's amazing. But then when you get to like the will and all the things that he's going through, it's interesting. Don't get me wrong. And but if it was any other story or any other book, I would be liking it a little bit more. But because of what like he had done, like the things that his actions in this book have made me like, I don't care about your storyline. Like I
I'm
don't
the opposite.
I
The Will is one of my favorite characters in the whole series.
oh no. No, he's definitely complicated. That's the thing. Like he's
That's
very
that's what I
complicated.
like about
And
him.
I recognize that. I recognize that I don't like him solely because of who how they wrote him. But if he was in another book or any other kind of story, I probably would like him a little bit more. But that's how connected you are to these characters. Like it's
Yeah.
just Saga's good. You should read it. You should definitely binge all of one what is it, 70 what?
I mean, this was issue
70?
Issue
70,
70.
so
Yeah.
Yeah.
um,
It's just 70 issues. That's it.
yeah.
Saga
Good.
Saga is so good that on the compendium they have a, cover quote, a blurb from Alan Moore praising like, "Hey, I don't read comics anymore because they're stupid, but this one's good."
Noted
Do read
curmudgeon
Saga.
Alan Moore.
I just picked up his new book today, actually. I'm really excited about it.
Which one's that one?
It's called The Great When. It's the first in a 5-part novel series that he's doing about the history of London, like a magical history of London.
All right, let me know how it goes. Let's go through because for the sake of time, let's go. Let's like hit everything else that we read, and then just quick thoughts. Whoever did read it, chime in, and then we'll move on. Action Comics 1074. I know we touched on it. It's a weekly Action
Yeah.
Comics run right now. I'm not so interested in the Phantom Zone, but the art is amazing and the story is good. So I'm
Yeah,
ready.
it's a fun story.
Yeah. Um, who read Batgirl #1?
I read it. Out of my scale, got a 10 out of 15. But it was good. And the art, honestly, the art was really good. Sometimes weird at points, but the art was great. And it really it just deals with Batgirl and her mom, and there's a threat, and that's pretty much it. But I liked it. I'm
I
excited for it.
I like because originally she wasn't like it wasn't stated that she was Shiva's daughter. Like she was David Kane's daughter, and then it turns out Shiva was the mother, and like Ah, it's so good. I love their dynamic.
Remember that you said that. Everything that you just said, you drew as remember what he just said, because it kind of comes up
Uh oh.
in this
Oh
issue.
no. What's
So
okay? All
no
right.
spoilers, no
All right.
spoilers, but just remember that.
All right. Batman 154. Who read it?
I did.
Thoughts?
Uh, I am liking the current Batman story. It's only 2 issues in for the new arc, but the current Batman story is way more my speed of what I want from a Batman story than almost anything that Zdarsky has done so far. And so
Who's writing
I'm
this?
huh?
Who's writing this?
It's Zdarsky
Oh,
still.
okay. Okay.
Um, but yeah, it's been this is kind of like closer to what I expected from him,
Yeah.
and I'm into it. I like
Okay.
it.
Did I tell you I cried on that one Zdarsky issue with the old Batman, the old clone?
Yeah. We talked
Oh,
about it on this on the podcast.
yeah. Arrow Annual. I read this one. It's a one shot. It's an annual. It takes place in the future, and it doesn't explain exactly who the kids are, and you can like extrapolate who you think these little kids are. But like old Oliver. Wait, did anyone else read it?
I did, yeah.
Okay. Old Oliver Queen is telling these little kids this story, and they're on the island, so they're children of the characters that we know. Like probably the redhead is a child of Arsenal. Who knows? And he's telling a story about the past, about Firestarter, and this whole like villain that kept popping up, and he never quite solved the case. And then the end of this issue. Who knows?
Yeah.
I liked it. It was cute and good art.
I thought it was a cool issue. I enjoyed it. I think that one of the cool things about superhero comics is that you get to revisit the end of their career many times. I don't know that this is the definitive, like, I think every superhero needs their end of their career story. And I don't know that this is the definitive end of the career. This isn't, I mean, it's not Dark Knight Returns.
Yeah.
It's not Wonder Woman Dead Earth. But it is a fun, cool little, like, jaunt down memory lane.
I like the idea of Grandpa Ollie because that's
Yeah.
what this is. This is his kids now have kids essentially, right? So it's like this is Grandpa Ollie, and like it's just nice to see. We don't need like it's not old man Oliver Queen that's like has dementia and one arm in Dark Knight Returns. Like
Yeah.
okay, cool. Um, JSA number one. I read this one. It's a cool new kind of start to the Justice Society. A little cynical, a little not. They're kind of splintering the group. I'm excited for what to come.
Yeah.
Did you read it? Same thing?
I did. Yeah. Same.
Plastic Man No More number 3 is an alternate timeline, right? Where E.L. O'Brien's breaking down and he keeps messing up, and there's a death at the end of this issue that I didn't see coming, and I hope that this character is not dead because I feel really sad about it. I don't know. I don't know what to say. Anyone read it?
No, not yet.
Oh, okay. Well, I didn't say who dies, so who knows? You
Yeah.
know? It's just he's getting way more and more desperate, and it's crazy. Like, it's one of those type of shows that are on, like, AMC, where it's like the character messes up once and keeps messing up, and it snowballs into bigger and bigger mess ups. It's like one of those. So if that's your jam, check that out. Poison Ivy 27.
Read it, really liked it. This continues to be one of my favorite series coming out each month.
Okay. All right. I wish I could trademark some like catchphrases for Comic Talk. Like we'd be like it, love it, gotta have it. like what's our rating system? How do we do this? We used to have a thing on the key called smash hit or trash shit. And it's like
Interesting.
but that's too negative.
Hmm.
FML number 1.
That was good. It's a high school story of, being the outsiders, and they have their own band and they're just weird kids. And then at the end, it's like they hang out like at a at the witch's house or whatever, and they find a silly little spell that could never be anything other than silly. And of course, the next morning, one of them wakes up as a like just creature. Like I can't even tell you, it's not a werewolf, it's not anything else. One of them, the main character, just wakes up as a creature, and it's like, what is going like FNM, and then that's how the issue ends. So it's pretty, it's silly, it's fun, it's nothing serious. It's I think it's centered, or the writer probably started writing it around um 2020 because they have masks on, they talk about the pandemic happening and stuff like that, but I don't know if they're talking about real world situation or if it's just like a parallel to ours
Okay.
kind of thing.
All right.
But it was good. I mean, good enough.
Yeah. Kill All Immortals #4.
That one, you said something about Zach Kaplan. I don't know any of his other stories, Drew, but this
He's
one is
uh he's great.
it. I can't agree with you right now at the moment. This is the only thing that I know of Zach Kaplan, and like the logic that he has held for the last three issues, and he's been very like, this is what I want with for my character in this next issue, the issue #4. It's just gets thrown out the window, and for no good reason. Like there's no logical reason for what you know of this character, the main character, the girl, um, for what you know about her. She does something, and you're just like, that makes no sense
Hmm.
as whatsoever. And then that's how the issue ends. So it's like, what? What just happened? So right now I'm not in good graces with Zach Kaplan, but maybe, hey, maybe the story will take a twist. Maybe the there'll be an explanation for this issue, and I'm gonna eat my words. And next time we're on Comic Talk, I will apologize. But for now,
I
he's
got his
he's at the
phone
bottom
number.
of my
I'll
list.
FaceTime him so you can apologize.
Hey, man, he's talking some shit right now.
All right. We got.
I don't actually have his phone number.
I wouldn't be surprised if you did have his phone number.
I know people who know him.
I had Jeff Johns'
No,
phone number for a little bit,
I love him. No, I'm just kidding.
so I get it. Let's we gotta really quickly go through this. They've got a couple left. Ranger Academy #12
It's
by
my
Boom
last book.
Studios.
It's at the very bottom of my list, and it was a book that
Oh,
that
okay,
wasn't good. That's
okay,
it.
that's
That
fair.
was the last book of the series. So,
Oh, it's a
no,
12
don't.
issue
If you like,
miniseries, and that was it.
yeah, if you like Power Rangers, I don't know. This one's not for you.
Okay,
I love Power Rangers. Don't
yeah,
get like that's the thing. So I read this and I was like, no. It fills so many things that you want, like Strange Academy, like any kind of those, like you have power and then you're going to a school with gifted young
yeah.
children as well. This is what I thought it was going to be, and it started off kind of strong, but it just like after issue two, it just went downhill and
Okay.
just kept going downhill.
The Sacrificers #12. Did you guys read that?
Oh, I did read that. Yeah, that one's actually at the very, it's in the middle, whatever. It's a story about uh, a poor bird that gets power, basically angry at the gods, and he's gonna get revenge at the gods. And
Okay,
this issue is very much an angry filled issue, which was good.
okay.
It was fun to read.
I think the final book then that we got to talk about is Ultimates #6, which
Ooh, that one was rough, like
there was some things in
brutal.
this book, and I liked it. I liked it a lot,
Yeah.
and there's kind of a dig at Ultimatum. I don't know if you noticed. Drew, did you read this one? No.
I did not. I'm behind on this one.
Manny, you remember the part where Fat Cobra eats the wasp?
Yeah.
So it's
Yeah.
like an ultimatum where the blob like eats the wasp. And so like and then the wasp dies. But in this, he swallows the wasp and the wasp grows inside him and he explodes.
Mhm.
And like, cool.
which which I thought it was more of a call out to the Invincible, right? Like they did it too, and but she actually just got crushed inside of him, right?
Oh yeah, 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 that's right.
Yeah. So I wonder which logic holds true if, because I mean, technically, I feel like I think what happened in this book is what should happen, but who knows?
Yeah, you know.
Who knows?
Yeah.
We gotta call MythBusters on it. They need to
I
do it. But
I like this
it's good.
issue and I'm very excited to see what kind of what happens going forward.
A calm Hulk is scary.
Yeah,
100%. With Iron Fist
like the immortal
techniques, like
weapons,
yes,
like
that
Hulkified
was.
immortal weapons, essentially.
I'm glad they didn't make him an easy obstacle. Like
Yeah,
he's like, I'm not moving. Like
yeah.
you're in my way. So like that was good. And then the ending is obviously the ending is gonna be wrong,
Well,
but
I don't know.
I don't know, man. Like I don't know how can it continue, but that it was a good book for sure. It was very entertaining.
Yeah, yeah. There's some there's some pretty gruesome stuff, but it has a point, so I like it. Um, I think that's it. I think that's all the books that we read this week. I want to thank you guys so much for coming on the show. I want to thank people out there for watching and or listening. If you're watching us live, you were watching us on twitch.tv/The Keeg Show or youtube.com/The Keeg Show. Shout out to Vinyl Casket. Shout out to Trowa Barton 2 for being in our chat and saying what's up and, throwing us a couple bones along the way in our chat box. People are out there listening to this podcast on all these podcast platforms that we got Apple Podcasts, Spotify, iHeartRadio, Audible, Amazon Music, SoundCloud, pretty much wherever you get your podcast, that's where we're at. We're on all those podcasts. If you look up The Keeg or The Keeg Show, you can find this show, Comic Talk. It's one of the couple of shows that The Keeg does. Before we get going, though, Manny, where can we find you? What do you got coming up? Anything you want to plug?
On most socials, I am Manny Reads Comics. I don't really have anything coming up right now, but I'm always posting something.
All
Who
right.
knows?
All right, Manny Reads Comics. I mean, that's how I found you, man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was reading comics.
You were reading comics. It was like, who's that guy reading comics? Oh, it's Manny. Manny Reads Comics. All right.
Yeah.
Drew, I mean, your username doesn't really say that you like comics, but do you?
I do. Yeah.
Okay.
To be fair, Manny's doesn't say he likes them. He just says he reads them.
Yeah.
That's true.
Yeah.
Man, Manny judges comics. How about I'm gonna change my name. I'm
Yeah.
changing it right now.
Yeah, I read comics. I like comics. I teach comics.
Mhm.
I write comics. I got
Where can we find you?
huh?
Where can we find you? What do you got coming up? Anything you want to plug?
Oh, I got I'm all over the internet. Mostly TikTok, Instagram. You can find me at Drew Deficit. There's an X in between, Drew X Deficit. You will find me wherever you want to talk to me about things. Don't send me your band though. That's what things people have been doing that all day today, just sending me their band, and it's bad. Don't do that. But I got December 4th, DC's holiday special this year. Batman Smells Robin Laid an Egg comes out. I have a story in that 10-page story in that anthology. And so go pick it up at your local comic shop. I got new music out. You can look up Good Grief at on Good Grief STL at Instagram. That's going to be the best way to find it because it's going to end up you're going to search for 1,000 Good Griefs on Spotify, but you'll get linked there. I got a new band, another new band called Like Heaven. We got music coming out soon. We got a show Wednesday, the 13th, which is next week in Springfield, Illinois. So there you go. I got a lot going on right now.
Mm-hmm.
Hell yeah.
All
A
right.
lot of spinning plates, man.
Yeah, you're doing a lot, man.
I'm trying to my one friend I hang out with moved away, so I gotta like find ways to keep myself from being depressed.
Go on tour. Come out to California. I will come and see a show of yours if you come out here.
I
Least I
mean,
could do.
give me a little bit.
Okay. All right. I want to thank both of you guys so much for coming on. You guys are always great. For anyone out there who wants to follow me personally, you can follow me on Instagram at ThisIsDimitri. On Instagram, there's an H in Dimitri. You gotta spell it right to find it. But if you want to know about me personally, you can do that. But as far as the show, Comic Talk is every Thursday, 5 p.m. Pacific, 8 p.m. Eastern. That's our live stream on twitch.tv/The Keeg Show, or youtube.com/The Keeg Show. And then we release the podcast afterwards. But that's every Thursday. We also got The Keeg Talks. Most recently, The Keeg talked Agatha All Along. So we do that. Part of me, it feels like the Keeg needs to talk the new absolute DC universe. Just those first issues of those 3, and then talk about what's to come. But you know, I'll keep you guys posted on that. Check out all our stuff on social media at The Keeg Show, on TikTok and Instagram at The Keeg Show, or we're also on Facebook, Twitter, Threads, all that sort of thing, at The Keeg Show, /The Keeg Show, wherever you can find us, we are there, including patreon.com/The Keeg Show if you want to donate to The Keeg. Also go to comicshoplocator.com, find a comic shop near you, support your local comic shops, and then also support your local public libraries. Not only just because they're your local public libraries and they need your support, but also they got comics there. All these libraries have comics now, and they didn't when I was a kid, or at least when I was a kid they had like 5 comics that I would just like rotate through. But now they got like whole comic book sections in public libraries, and if you're interested in comics, go to your local public library and support them. Get your library card, check some books out, and then read comics for free, you know? That's pretty much it. Yeah. Thank you guys so much for coming on. Thank you guys so much for watching. Once again, I am your host, Dimithri Perera, and this has been another episode of Comic Talk for the week of Thursday, November 7th, 2024. Say bye, everybody.
Bye.
Super strong or super